when you're knitting in the round, like for a hat like we've got here, eventually you cannot use your circular needles. You've got to have enough stitches to go around this cable to keep using these, and at some point you're going to change to double pointed needles. But the first thing you have to do before you change is you need to change your marker. This is a ring marker that will slip around the cable, but when you go to double pointed needles you have to use a split ring marker. You just place it on your first stitch like that. So that's the first thing you do. And then the second thing you do, you have to kind of determine how many stitches are going to go on each of your needles. If you have a set of 4, you're going to put a third of your stitches on each one of your double pointed needles. So all you do, it's just like when you're changing from one size of a needle to another, you just start knitting and switching it off of the circular onto a double pointed as you go around. And if you have a pattern that you're supposed to be following as far as decreases go or anything along that line, you do this as you go along until you have the amount of stitches that on one of these needles, and then you pick up the second one and begin knitting with it. And I'm going to get around here to where I'm going to start with the second one. Just a few more stitches. Need about like 14, I think, on one of them, so it'll be a little bit. And all you got to do is just stop, pick up your second one, and start with it. And you just have to kind of pull this first stitch so you don't have a gap between them. And we'll come back and I'll show you what it looks like when they're all on the 3 double pointed. So I almost have all of them off of my circular needle. Let me do these last couple of stitches here and I'll show you how everything looks once you get them on the double points. So here we are with our 3 needles, and your 4th needle, let me move my yarn where it's supposed to be, your 4th needle becomes your empty needle that you start working around. And when you work your first stitch, see, you're using your empty needle, and you're going to empty this needle by working. And when you work that first stitch, you move the marker up. Just, since it's split, you can just loop it on there like that. And once I've emptied this needle, as I work across, feels like you have a handful of pin cushion or something along that line, but it gets easier once you've done it a little bit. It's not really an intuitive thing. See, I've got 4, it's almost like a square with angled corners, but I'm emptying one needle. When I get to the end, this needle will become the needle that goes into my right hand. There. So, right hand, and start going around this edge. And you'll just go around and around and around until the hat is decreased and done.